Welcome to Our Hen House. This is Jasmine Singer.
This is Marianne Sullivan.
Thank you so much for joining us this week. Marianne will be speaking once again with Kim Stallwood, who knows more about the animal rights movement and its history and its future than pretty much anybody. They will be focusing particularly, though not exclusively, on the Kim Stallwood Archive at the British Archive, which is preserving some of that history. That's so cool.
Yeah, it really is amazing. And Kim has just done, he's done many, many things for animals. He's been doing this for such a long time. But he's the only person I know of he has kind of an obsession with preserving these materials that will allow people to look back at where we've been. And I just think it's such a valuable contribution.
Yeah, he's a tremendous activist, and we've all been really excited about this airing. On this week's Flock bonus segment, as you mentioned, you'll be continuing your conversation with Kim.
Yeah, as always, if you're a Flock member, you'll get the link to the bonus segment in your email on the Tuesday after this podcast goes up. You can always also find it on the Flock Facebook group. And if you're not a member of the Flock and you can afford it, you can join for $10 a month at ourhenhouse.org/donate.
Also, we are continuing with our Flock Fridays. They are Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern for our Flock members. Sometimes we have guests. Last week, we had Peter Brandt and Becky Jenkins. So we got like a 2-for-1 because they are both recent guests and happen to be a couple. In fact, they met through our hen house. So.
They met through our hen house and they recently got married. I feel like it's our first marriage.
Yeah. Well, so our Flock Fridays are super fun and we hope that you join us if you're in the Flock and you can. So before we get to the interview, Mazel Tov is in order times 2. I know you're teaching 2 semesters in animal law this year. One is at NYU that started this week and one is at Cornell and that starts soon. So how did the NYU one go? How are you feeling?
Well, it's always nice to get started. I find teaching difficult because I'm not that much of a conversationalist, but I always really love getting to know the students and love knowing there's people out there who care about animals. And we've just, like every year, we have so much to talk about, even since the last year, so much going on. Right. So I'm looking forward to it.
Podcasting is a good medium for introverts because you're just talking to me. Nobody's actually listening to this.
I don't know why I feel comfortable doing this. I still am not a person who, you're the one who always does the fill and keeps things going. And I feel like sometimes I just have nothing to say. I don't know. Like, I am who I am. What can I say?
Well, I like who you are. So your house also finally closed. I know that, geez, that was so loud. I know that in the last few weeks, we've been talking about how you are moving and now you're still kind of in the process in the sense that your stuff is not really put together yet, but you're moved. So Mazel Tov, it feels good to shut one door, open another.
Oh my God, moving is just horrible. I feel so sorry for myself. You should all feel sorry for me. But now it's over. I feel better. But I have been so stressed out. And I know other people have much bigger reasons to be stressed out. So I do feel really bad for all of you who actually have real problems. But I have every stress-related ailment I've ever had. They've all come back at the same time. But yeah, the movers were there. They took apart all of my belongings, put them in a truck, drove them over here. They're now everywhere around me. And I think, why do I have all this crap?
Yeah, I wish that I could become a minimalist, but not enough to become a minimalist, I like my stuff.
Like my things, yeah.
So I was on a couple podcasts this week and I want to give a little shout out to them in case you are looking for more to listen to. So after you've gone through all of the episodes of our hen house that we've ever produced and the Animal Law podcast, I was a guest on the Healthification podcast by Kate Galley, who I know is an Our Hen House listener. And I really enjoyed chatting with her about my new book, The Veg News Guide to Being a Fabulous Vegan. And Kate was a great person to talk to about it because her questions were really about the sort of harder hitting aspects of the book, as opposed to a few of the people who have interviewed me had me on to talk about the recipes. And I'm like, I didn't write them. I didn't write the recipes. Lucky for you. Each chapter ends with a recipe that was provided by a Veg News recipe developer and contributor. A lot of these people are very well known. So I feel like when they give me credit for it, no, it wasn't me. That one was Chloe Coscarelli, actually, not me, but the world-renowned chef, Chloe Coscarelli. So anyway, that was a really fun podcast to chat with Kate. And then Mike Kaplan has a podcast called Broccoli and Ice Cream. He obviously means vegan ice cream. He is such a great comedian and just all around awesome person. And I've just really been enjoying getting to know him again because we used to know each other, a little bit. When we did the Our Hen House TV show, he was the first guest on the Our Hen House TV show.
God, I didn't remember that. Yeah. But I do love him. He's hilariously funny.
He's going to be on Our Hen House in the next few months as well.
So get ready to laugh and save up your laughs.
And also, we are going to have another, speaking of Fabulous Vegan, we are going to have another virtual event. We haven't officially announced it yet, but heck, I'll tell you. It is going to be on February 10th in the evening, and Mike will be there once again, and a whole wonderful, fabulous lineup of other folks, which I will keep you posted. But for now, mark your calendars because February 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific is when we'll be doing that.
Is that Valentine's themed?
It is. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me. Chocolate and Valentine's Day and sexual health and chocolate and aphrodisiacs and love and chocolate, all with a vegan bent. So check it out. I'll keep you posted. We'll be sure to spread the word about it on Our Hen House's social media. Okay, so a few weeks ago, we asked you, our listeners, what your number one vegan tips are. And this question came from the fact that every time I'm interviewed about Fabulous Vegan, the interviewer has been asking me what's your number one tip? And I frequently find that I don't say the same thing. Every time I'm asked, I'm like, oh, well, my number one tip today is, and I have a different answer.
I don't think I get asked. Well, of course, you're being interviewed left and right about veganism, but right. I'm not sure I've ever been asked that.
Well, do you have an answer?
Nobody I know wants to go vegan, so they don't want to.
Well, they're already vegan. That's why they don't want to go vegan because they're already.
Yeah, either they are or they have no interest. Yeah.
But do you have an answer?
No. Number one tip
for going vegan.
Just
go vegan.
Think about the animals.
Well, okay, so I do. Obviously, that is my number one reason I'm vegan, but that isn't. I don't think that's why most people would. I mean, I think a lot of people would.
Right.
People who listen to Our Hen House, for sure, that's your heartbeat. But I think your average sort of general run-of-the-mill person, they need it to be comfortable and accessible and affordable and in their life. So I think we need to kind of replace what they are doing right now with the vegan version without them even noticing it. So let's go to the Our Hen House listeners and those of you who answered our question on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter at Our Hen House. Here is a small sampling of some of your answers. So here we go. Start small, one baby step at a time, which is from on Instagram at Plant Centered Prep. Ashley, thank you. I do agree. One baby animal step at a time. I'll take it even further. And it's true.
I think that's excellent advice. But I do think that some people just really jump in. But I think it's excellent advice because it makes it unintimidating. And then if they want to jump in, and just do it wholeheartedly, they will. But the worst thing that happens to people is they get overwhelmed with thinking that they can't manage it. And I think that once people take that step, they're likely to continue.
Yeah, totally. So we've got veganize your favorite dishes instead of feeling like you have to try all the new ones. That's from Two Trick Pony, Lori. I think that you're hitting on something super important, Lori, which is that people need to know that they don't have to give up their XYZ. They just have to replace it with the vegan version. So depending upon who this person is in your life, you might be able to support them by saying something like, hey, for a week, just send me what you're eating. Just eat it and then send me the list. And by the end of the week, I will know what you ate, more or less, and I will find you the vegan version. We could help support people in that way.
Because let's face it, the first thing everybody says is, well, I can't give up XYZ.
Cheese usually being the XYZ. So we did have a few answers that are specifically animal related. Here's one from Shani Mori, and this is on Instagram, Shani Mori. My only tip is to remember this is your life and you owe no one an explanation about why or where you get your protein. We are the voice for the animals. And then on a similar vein, Kay Burnett, which is Karen Ann, said, aversion therapy. Every time you want dairy or meat, make yourself think of the suffering of the animals.
Why exactly are you laughing?
I'm laughing because I don't know if I would personally lead with that. But I mean, that did help me in my own journey when I was the person who said I couldn't give up cheese or whatever. It wasn't cheese, it was frozen yogurt. And then one day I started thinking of the cows, so that did help me, but I feel like I had to kind of, get to that myself. But she also says, think about what it is and where it comes from. Make your I don't know why I'm laughing. It's just so gross. And it's so gross because it's so gross. Make yourself think of pus and mucus every time you want dairy. Works really fast for many, but you have to actively think about it.
I think this is really good advice because we have to, this wouldn't be good advice for somebody who has no interest, if you're trying to talk somebody into going vegan. But that's not what we're really asking here. We're really asking, if somebody wants to go vegan, what's a good way to help them? And I think thinking about the animal, I'm going to go back to my recommendation. I agree with Karen Ann and Shani. If somebody wants to go vegan, and particularly if the reason they want to go vegan is because of the animals, just remind them to think about it all the time, even though